to say your story here on the spot, it is important. So please say in the chat if you're prepared to say your story. You have a story, about 2 minutes to do it, and then we can help you to analyze it and of course, in a constructive way, say how it could be better or if it's great. So that's an opportunity we'll have today. So please let us know if you want to do that. If not, like tell you, I have plenty of examples. And the best thing of today is like we're gonna try and we're gonna see this different stories from the commercial part, from the NGO sector as well. We have a couple examples for a personal perspective too. So that is like what it is going to be today. So let's start. Like I was telling you, first, we're gonna have this review of the session. Then we're gonna read, listen, and watch some stories. And of course, we're gonna get some question and answers and some closing comments from all of you. So this is like the really short on, or a specific agenda because we're still blocked for an hour. So let's start here. Well, the objectives, like I told you, share with others your story. If you have that opportunity, you should do it. And of course, have feedback from your partners. So that it is. And I'll tell you, share stories from all over the world. Okay, I'm having here a little dog fight. I don't know if you hear it. So, well, let's start with the review. You can help me as well if you want. You have the chat. This is, like I told you again, it's going to be a really interactive meeting, interactive session. So I'm going to be reading the chat all of the session. So please feel free to comment. Feel free to give any suggestion, if any, from your side. So the first thing we did last session, we talked about the storytelling for fundraising specifically. So what is gonna be the 7 rules of storytelling for fundraising? First, the story should be about real people. Remember, put a name, put a story, put something to make this story live and related to what you're saying. And of course, that means you have to put a name, you have to put an age, you have to put a story on the persons or the cast, as we're talking about the steps as well, of the story. Then get to 4 to 10 seconds, you say, okay, I'm gonna grab the attention of the people here. Here is the way, or here is the moment I'm gonna get the attention of the audience I'm going to. And that's why you have to know the audience, to know how to get their attentions. Remember, when you go to investors, how you get attention of investors? With numbers, with things that say, okay, this is going to be the revenue, this is going to be, or this, or the statistics, this, or is the cast. So that is something that you have to take in mind when you want to take the stories to take the attention of the people, the audience you're going to. Keep your story short. That's really important. 6 words to 2 minutes. And then allow your story to have the emotion part. So that's really important. Emotions and senses. Remember that. Emotions and senses are part of the steps of a really good story. Then, of course, you need story have a moment that paints a picture. How we call that in the steps? Magic moment. So it is the journey, how to paint the picture, how to make the story really appeal to the persons that are listening. And of course, something that says here is stories are best told by the people themselves, or the person that is the protagonist. For example, if the protagonist of your story is an employee or a customer, you should make a video of that customer, of that employee. Or if it's you, it should be you being there. So it's really important that normally it doesn't happen that much. For example, when you're writing a grant, you just write it and that's it. But when you're telling it, or when you are allowed to make a video, you should do that. And we're gonna see some examples of that on the videos we're gonna see in the coming minutes. Then we talk about the science and how stories affect the brain. We saw about the parts when it's data, when it's stories, when it's just listening and comprehending, and then when it's taking all of the things and all this, like the dopamine that is felt when you hear a story, when you listen to a story. So it's really important to know that it's not just because it's a science and our body or mind or brain, it's wired to react better to stories, to react better to things that we can relate to. So that's really important too. And of course, the 6 steps for a perfect story. That's what we're gonna practice today. That's we're gonna look at every story. It's the cast of characters, then the journey, then emotions and senses, the magic moment, the resolution, the desire to act. And why it's here like a cycle. That's something interesting as well. It is a process. It is a process, of course, but remember that anything in this life can be static. You can stuck to the same story all time around. So you have to revise it, not to change it, but to put it more, like I told you, to the audience you go in. Maybe in an audience, you should add someone specifically, or you should do change the story. So that's why it's a cycle. When you have this gone, when you get the story, you say, okay, let's revise the story again and let's see. Okay, let's see the cast of character. It is working like I expected. It is not working like I expected. Can I change the journey? Can you start a little bit earlier, a little bit in the middle? So that's really important. That's why it's a cycle as well. So it's not just writing the story and forget about it. It's like your CV, like your resume. When you apply to a job, if you do apply to a job with the same resume to all of jobs, you're doing it wrong. Let me tell you. So it is just like that. You just have to adapt. It's not like, again, it's not lying. It's just adapting and focusing on the interest of the person that you're trying to reach, on the audience. So that is really important. And well, that's all of reviewing. I'm not gonna take like much more time. I don't know if you have something else you can say. We can of course say it at the end as well, but something else that you remember. I remember that one of the takeaways you said last session was about the emotions. Put the emotions to be relatable. That's great. Know the audience. So everything that we were talking, it was your takeaways from the last sessions. And now we're gonna practice. I'm reading here Blanca that says that she cannot stay today, but I don't know if you're here at the first moment, because we can start with your story, Blanca, and you can read it if you're still here. I'm not sure. Let me see, or because she said she wasn't able to stay. No, I'm sitting.
Yeah, I think she left already, unfortunately.
Okay, no worries. But thank you, thanks Blanca for sending this story. I'm not sure because I didn't ask if she made it up, if it's something that happened, but okay, just read it, and then we're gonna start with the practical part of our session. So I'm gonna start reading it. Laura is a Spanish middle-aged mother. Just before, remember, we're gonna analyze the 6 steps. So if you have a piece of paper or something, just start thinking about who is the cast. Well, I'm gonna put it again, just who is the cast? What is the journey? What are the emotions and senses that this story makes you feel? What's the magic moment? What's the resolution, and what's the desire to act? Remember, these are the 6 steps that we're gonna analyze in the stories that are coming right now. So let's start again. Laura is a Spanish middle-aged mother. She has a 3-year-old child and works so hard at a multinational company. Every day she goes home at 6 p.m. and has time to play with her child, Alex. However, all the joy and playfulness ends when she has to prepare dinner for the boy. He's a very bad eater, and every single night the kitchen becomes a battlefield. Laura plays the defeated soldier role, and Alex plays the winner role of the war. One day, Laura came with an idea. Why doesn't she tell a story while Alex is having dinner? That night, Alex had vegetables for dinner, and she started telling her day at work as if it was a fairy tale. She played the main character of the story. The antagonist was a very bad client she had. The magic moment, the one she realized she could shoot down the barriers between her and the client with empathy. Finally, Lara and the client became friends. She finished the story while Alex, very concentrated, was eating the last bite of broccoli. That night, she won the battle. This is a really short story, and there's some elements we can get from it. So let's start. I'm gonna start reading here the chat. So if you have some comments, let's start with the comments. The cast of characters of this story, which they were. Remember them? The cast, Lara and the child. Perfect. Perfect, that's good. What was the journey? Luke says the client there. Let's wait to go to the client, but yes, remember, the cast have protagonist, antagonist, and cast. So the protagonist was Lara and the boy. Perfect, that's good. The client, it's the cast because it's part of the story, but it's not a main. And let's see here, what's the antagonist of this story? What's the problem here? Okay, what's the problem? The broccoli? Yeah, kind of, but get more deep into that. That he doesn't eat the dinner? Yes, that's a problem. So we have that. So we have that to solve. So the journey, what's the journey? The journey, it's all the part of the story. Remember, what's the journey of this story? The mother had a character that knows is a working mom. She works for a multinational company. But what's the journey? We didn't. I remember that in the
some hopefully useful information about storytelling.
Sorry, I heard something there. Remember the journey, the journey. The journey, it's the map of where the story is. So the story is when the mother gets from her job to the dinner and to her house, to all the moments through the dinner and when they end, he eating the dinner or not. So that's the journey of the story. Remember, that's the scope. The story evolves in that moment when she gets to the house and then when she goes. So that's the journey of the story. Remember that it's away from it when it starts, when it ends. Now, what emotions and senses did it got there for you? What emotions? Let me see. Frustration and despair. Yeah, of course, because they didn't, the boy didn't want to eat and the mom was there. Another emotion. Mother excited that the kid ate his food at the end. Perfect. Playfulness. That's nice. And let's see, what senses? Remember the story. What senses worked for you at this story? Not emotions now. Remember the 5 senses. What senses get you? When you read or when you listen to this story? The eyes, because you imagine the battlefield, that's good. So you imagine the battlefield, perfect. I smell something there, or I imagine to smell something there. Smell food, perfect. I smell food. At the end, I smell the broccoli. I just imagined the broccoli and said, okay, this is the broccoli. So put scent, put something into, yes. So see, it gets you through the senses of your experiences. And of course, it brings you an emotion, like you said, frustration, then go through playfulness, and after to the to be excited that he ate the food. So has all of, what was the magic moment for you? What was the magic moment and in the story? Let's see, remember it. Her storytelling at the dinner. That's interesting. We have a couple of thoughts. Then it's a moment he ate the last piece of broccoli, or he ate the broccoli. What other magic moment do you think there is there? Remember, the magic moment, it is when there is no point of return, when she decided to do something, when she got the idea. Perfect. We have there someone from Impact of Hamburg. Yes. So when she said, I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell a story, so that she got the idea. She said, I'm going to tell a story. And of course, she tells it. That's the magic moment. And the resolution, of course, is eating the dinner. That's the resolution of all this story. She made her child to eat the dinner, to eat the broccoli. So that's the resolution. And what's the desire to act? If not explicit, what was implicit? What made you act? What will you act after listening or reading this story? What would you say? Okay, I'll do this. What is your thinking of action after this story? Would you make your children or your little brother eat broccoli at dinner? Would you tell a story? Like try out the idea. Make time to play. Make time to take stories. You can have this very thing saying, okay, yes, I come from work, I'm tired, but I might have a time to make stories. So make that feeling inside you and make that act. Be inventive, be creative. Perfect. That's actions. This is story it's making you. Again, this is not explicit because it didn't say, please do this, but you're taking this from the story. And that happens to good stories as well. It's not necessary to say, for example, remember last time we saw the ALS. It didn't say donate now, but I think you felt you want to donate. So in this case, it didn't say, please be creative, please do this, but you're feeling to be creative, to be inventive, to try the idea if you have kids. So yes, this is with the first story that we have here. So good. We're gonna move on. And this is a second story. This is some crowdfunding campaign that I personally did. So let's please analyze it.
He is Mr. Thomas, and she is Mrs. Sylvia. And for them, this stuff is something new. And they want to learn how to use it. But for themselves, it's difficult, and they need help. Do you know someone in this situation?
Hi, my name is Leonardo Velásquez, and I'm the founder of EasyTech. And with a group of enthusiastic people, we have started this new venture. In this innovation and social impact journey, we aim to close the technological gap that exists between us and our parents and or grandparents. We want to teach them how to use their cell phones, tablets, and computers so they too can do the same things that we do daily. Like using social media, take pictures, and browse the web. But for them, it is a big challenge. By learning this, they will improve their lives and stay in touch with family and friends, feeling a sense of belonging to the current technological society. We will achieve this with trainings, workshops, tailored handbooks, and remote assistance. We are currently in the design stage of the company and its services. This includes market research and product testing. At this stage, we have been selected by IDME and Knight Foundation to receive funding and pursue a dream. And to make it happen, we need your support by contributing to this crowdfunding campaign and reach our goal in less than 30 days. Any collaboration is important and will be used to make our first trainings.
Join our initiative and help us change the reality of our beloved seniors.
Perfect. So let's identify the steps. The cast of characters. Who were or who is the protagonist on this story, on this video, on this promotional? Luke says that I am the protagonist. Okay, you see it that way. Let's see if other ones. The cast is the couple, like yes, Mr. Thomas and Miss Sylvia. Here said you, your company, your colleague. Okay, that's all the part of the cast. Perfect. But the protagonist, remember the protagonist. Fabio says here, the seniors that cannot use the technology are the protagonist. All couple and a few others, yeah. So you mentioned another cast. That's perfect. That's great. The protagonist, and that's good because here we're like analyzing something, and you are the creator here. So the ones that I'm going to tell you what I wanted you to think the story goes. So for me, I wanted you to think the protagonists were Miss Sylvia and Mr. Thomas. For me, that was what I intended to do. If it didn't happen, for example, with Luke, that he says, no, you are the protagonist. Maybe I did something that I didn't put them through the whole story because I just put it at the beginning and the end. So that's something that we could see. Okay, let's try my story. That's why this is space is really important, because you should try the story with somebody else so they can tell you, oh, look, you're the protagonist. And I will say, but I don't want to be the protagonist. I want these two senior people are the protagonists. So, okay, what should I do to make them feel as a protagonist? So that's good. That's good to know, to have this feedback and to say, so yes, I thought the protagonists were Mr. and Miss Sylvia. Then all the others were the cast, the seniors in the video, myself, my colleague and everything. We were supposed to be only the cast. But yeah, we were there. And the antagonist, what's the problem here? Let's see if you identify what's the problem to solve. Technology, totally. The use of technology for elderly, perfect. So that's really great. And what's the journey? What was the journey in this video? What did you feel? What did you feel the journey was? What this started, what this ended? It wasn't clear. Not being able to use their phones, that's still the problem. The journey might not be clear. Don't feel that you can't criticize it. Like I tell you, I'm here, so it's okay. Not knowing how to use the technology until they can connect over technology, that's good, yeah. It's not specifically a timeline, but it is a moment when they don't know to use it and when they learn to use it. That could be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, depending. But that are the 2 moments that are yes. Elderly people can connect with the younger generation again. Perfect. That's kind of, we're getting more to like to the resolution or something. So what emotions did you got with this video? Did you had any emotions? That's good. That's another question we have to make ourselves as well. Did I provoke some emotions or I didn't? Happiness, joy. I think the music helps that, right? Remember, that's senses, all our senses. So we listen to that music of joy. Music, okay, something good is happening. Something good is happening. Perfect, yes, Dorothy, the joy. Like missing out, inequality, you felt inequality. Perfect, what else? Empathy. Maybe you're being, who of you have been with your mothers or your grandmothers or your grandparents or your parents or your aunts and everything, trying to teach something? I think most of us feel really related to that because we have been there. We have been there, yes, yes. And that's something really, really important with stories. When you say, okay, I know what you're feeling, I know what you're going through because I had it. And how many of you imagine at this moment, if your parents or seniors or your grandparents, how many imagine some relatives of you or friends, you teaching this kind of things of technology? Let me know. Who imagine those peoples of you, the one that you know, not in the video, not everything. Jarvis said that I do it every day. Perfect, yes. Bettina, Rihema, that's important because that is one of the main objectives of storytelling, making people feel empathy. If you make that, you nail it. Because you're going to relate to your person, to yourself, and you're saying, yes, that solution that you have will solve my problem because I do have that problem. So that's really, really important. Great. And what's the magic moment? What's the magic for you? What was the magic moment of this video? If there was a magic moment, again, we always can challenge and says, look, no, there's no magic moment there. You're just asking for money. For example. So what do you think it's the magic moment? The elder using her phone technology, perfect. It was kind of like the final 10, 15 seconds of the video that was some old lady using her phone. Yes, that's good. When the old lady laughed and touched the man on the shoulder and connected, yes, yes, that's part of. So that scene, because again, a magic moment should be in a scene. If you're doing it a video, part of it, it should be in a scene. So yeah, that is when the old lady starts using the phone, then comes the lady laughing and feeling joyful with the other, so it makes them like happy and you feel happiness for them. Perfect, that's the magic moment. What's the resolution? What they should do, what they're gonna do, what's the resolution of this story? Using support system, using your company, perfect. Yeah, if you don't have time, for example, to help your parents or your grandparents, hire my company because I will do it for you. I will teach them. I will give them tools. I will help them. Yes, that's the resolution. That's the resolution of a specific this video. Remember, that is important. So that's great. The resolution, what I'm saying normally, it would say that desire to act, right? Because I want you to use my company, but not in this video. That's great, Dorothy, that you said there. In this video, that's not the desire to act. So before, the resolution, it's use my company because I am doing that you need. I'm helping you to do that, to solve the problem. So that is the resolution. And now it comes that desire to act. What's the desire to act in this video? What's the desire to act? I told you this is gonna be all you. You're gonna be the one telling me the answers. The desire to act. What I wanted you, ask my dad if he can cope with his WhatsApp, and no. This video has something specific. Support the company through the crowdfunding campaign. Yes, yes. Maybe it wasn't that clear at the end, but that is their desire to act. So you donate to my crowdfunding campaign. Support the campaign. That is the specific call to action of this video. Support the campaign. So this is really important. This is the way you create a story, you create something, and now you bring it. And just to finish this time, I want to share the results. The results were good. We raised the $10,000 that we wanted to raise. So that was good. That was a good crowdfunding campaign. So we did it. I think we did it in a month or something. So when you receive this, you will get here the link and everything. So you can go and see all how the crowdfunding campaign was made. It was in 2016, I think. And it was good. So the company is going there. Now, after we shared Blanca and I shared mine, it's someone of you want to share something, want to tell a story, want to co-create something right now? I'm going to open space before we continue with more examples. It's really important that you feel comfortable sharing. Somebody, it's open, it's open. I know sometimes it could be like scary, letting people know or being put on the spot. But remember, that's also has to be something that you have to be prepared to. If you're pitching something, if you're selling something, if you have something to go, because when you are in the street, you say, oh, let me know about your company, or let me know about the impact, what it does, or let me know about something. So you have to be prepared to do things on the spot. Somebody, it's going to be the hero. It's going to be the protagonist of this. No. Well, we have the mic of Rihima. Is that correct? Well, we had it.
Yes. But for me, I had a question.
Yes, of course, Rihima. Rihima, is that correct?
Yes, and I'm from Impact Abdel Islam, which is found in Tanzania.
Okay.
I wasn't able to join the call, the last week call, I believe. But just joining this call, I've learned a lot. And I am trying to participate and contribute to according to my understanding. So my question was, how can one be able to tell a data-driven story using this procedure? And I'm asking that because we are about to create TV programs, and one of the program is in regards to data-driven, whereby we look at different, for example, different SDG issues, and we look at the issues in a manner that the issues that we speak about, we want them to have facts, to have data, information, and details. So I'm trying to understand how can I be able to tell the story in a manner that we don't bore people with a lot of data, like data in terms of numbers, but more of like stories. Yes, more of like stories that can move people, but at the same time, the information is not lost within.
Perfect. That's a good question. And the first thing, you know what you want to share. So that's great. You want to share data-driven information. So that's the main thing, and you have to have the core information. So how can you make it, or how can you transform this into a storytelling? First, make a cast. Okay, say, okay, this is story. Who's going to tell this story? It is going to tell a scientist. It's going to be told by Mr. Ronald that used this data. It's going to be started by the prime minister. So make yourself think who's going to tell this story. That's the first step, and following these steps, right? So who's going to, and if that person or that character, because it can be something not real, can be something, someone fictitious, that character is going to be appealing for the audience. They would listen to him or her if they. So that's the first thing. You have to see who's going to tell the story. And of course, the data. And then how is going to tell it. If it's going to be as a personal story. So for example, you're telling about SDGs. So you maybe talk about SDG 1, like no poverty. So
Yes.
you're gonna make this story about, okay, somebody living in poverty, and with facts and with data is gonna say, okay, he learned this or they learned this, now the community does this, and in that community it started 10% and now it's 25%. I'm giving data here, but it's telling a story. It's from a person direct, and the person is saying, look at me, I make this progress, and I'm from the SDG 1, I'm getting out of poverty and gender equality. So that's the second, the journey. First, the character who's going to tell the story. Second, it's what is going to be the journey from being on poverty to not being on poverty, or from knowing someone in poverty, because if you have a scientist or maybe some famous character, it's not their story, it's somebody else. So it depends on the journey. And then, of course, you're going to start building the story. You're going to build in what emotions and senses you want to feel there. So if you're going to feel, you want the audience to feel empathy or sympathy, you will put bad things in the video or things that precarious that the family might have it. But if you want them to feel joyful, you're going to put, now this is the way they got through this. So it depends. And after building that emotions, you're going to see the magic moment. You're going to select, in this story, what I want the people to see that's great. When it got from living from poverty to overcoming poverty, or again, another example of gender equality, when it was somebody that was beaten by her husband, and then she just run away and get better. It depends what is the you would say, but making this process, it's like making a script. You have the data, you have the facts. Now make a script of put characters, put emotions, put the magic moment, the resolution, and then what they want to do. So it's making the 6 steps until on the facts and data that you already have. I don't know if that helped.
Yes, it does help. Thank you for that. So, okay, one more quick question. So is in such a scenario, is it better to just use the community?
I lost you in the last 5 seconds. Can you repeat the question?
I'm saying in such a scenario, I said thank you first, and then I said in such a scenario, is it better to use the presenter to narrate it as we have like cutaways, or is it better to just use the community, like pick someone in the community and show their journey through?
In my experience, if you have someone in the community that it's personal, use that person. If you have a leader, if you have someone that can tell your story right, use them. That's the best way to do it. As one of the 7 tips to storytelling for NGO and for fundraising, use the person that is involved on the change. If not, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can't find because they're too shy. They don't want to be in a movie or something like. You can use a person. You can use it as well. But the recommendation is use the people that are directed or directly involved in the story, like the protagonists.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, great. Thank you, Rahima. So I hope when you make these videos or this story, you can share it with Anna, with everyone in the impact, and I can have some of that. So it get in practice what we are letting you know right now.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Somebody else have another like question or something? If not, we can continue with a couple of videos and then open another space. This couple of videos that are coming are interesting, and you're gonna see why. So we're gonna start with the first one. Of course, one of the greatest gurus of commercials and marketing, even if we don't like the product itself, but it is Coca-Cola. So let's take a look at it.
ओ भाई ये कहानी सुनी है सुनाई ओ भाई कैसी यारी है हमने बनाई हर कदम साथ है ओ मेरे भाई ढूंढूं तुझे कहाँ मैं खो जाए दिल ये अगर मैं चला आऊंगा तू पुकारे जिधर तू रहो बेफिक्र मैं भूल जाऊं ओ भाई
So let's review this. Let's all review it. Who are the protagonists? What's the cast of characters? The brothers. Perfect. Yeah, the brothers. That's a protagonist and that's a cast of characters. Both of them. And that's really important. Sometimes it's only one person, it's two, or could be a group that are protagonists. Remember in the last session, I talked about this sitcom called Friends. There are 6 of them and all of protagonists. So in this case, there are 2 and these are protagonists. Yes. What's the journey? What's the journey in this story specifically? It has a journey. It has a moment to start and a moment to finish. Which would it? It would be the day when they start because they are the breakfast and then they finish it at the school. So yeah, that could be the story. What emotions and senses this story made you feel? Let's see, are you there? What emotions, what feelings it make this story make you, if it makes, of course. A bit of sadness, yes. Empathy. Anger. Anger for the older. Okay, frustration, sadness, unity, joy at the end. It's interesting because here, and it's something really important, you say anger for the older one, of course, because he is making fun or bullying, we could say in some way, his little brother. But let's say, isn't that a reality? Don't you feel related to it? Don't you feel related with your older brother or siblings or younger? Do it not in a bad way, but in a way that says that. And after it comes and said, look, yes, I'm the only one that can bully you because now I'm going to defend you to all of the people. So that's interesting to see, right? Of course, we can say, yes, nobody has the right to bully. But again, the relation, the relatable of the story. Do you feel related? Because every almost brothers are feeling this. Yes, like Sandra says here from Budapest. So that's the thing. That's the things of the story. You won't say that, yes, that's the correct thing to do, but that's the like the true thing to do. So yes, that's why that story is so compelling. And what's the magic moment? The magic moment, it's really on spot. It's really detectable there. The save, yes. When he take the Coke from the others and give it to him. Totally, that's a magic moment. It says, look, I bother him, I'm bullied, but he's my little brother. So go out. And for me, it was really funny and interesting that when that, yes, I save you, but I still bully you. So I put this clap to your Coke. So that's kind of continued like the brotherly love. And the resolution. What's the resolution? I think Sandra said that, like protecting, sharing, like family. That is a resolution. And what want you make you to do this story? What's the desire to act? Yeah, Constantine asked, isn't the magic moment where the older gives the coke to the brother? Yeah, it's the whole scene. It's the whole scene, Constantine. When he takes the coke from the bulliers to the bullies and give it to the brother. I'll tell you, I will extend it a little bit more when he claps a little bit to continue bullying his brother. So for me, that whole scene is the magic moment. I save you, this is yours, but I still bother you because I'm your brother. So for me, it's the entire scene. And desire to act, remember what it make you, what do you want to do when you see this video? What do you think you want to do? The younger brother to start for himself, interesting, yes. To show someone that I care, go and get a Coke. Yeah, that's kind of the desire to act. And that's what Coca-Cola wants you, of course. Your feelings, your things, but they want you to get a Coke. So yeah, that's interesting. And that's why commercial things works. Yeah, Anna tells that she doesn't think that this ad would work nowadays. What do you think? I'm going to be open to this. What do you think? For me, I think it depends where you direct this. Because again, it's where you relate. Because of course it's, and the ad, it's called itself brotherly love. So you know that they're brothers. You know that they mess with themselves. So I think it will depend I'm not sure when this would ad published, but again, a story, when you relate to it, it's the one that sells the most. I want to share this one. This is a really, really great story. It's a little bit longer than the other ones. It's 3 minutes. Please pay attention to the whole story. This is really, really, really good. What do you think about this? This is a whole story. This is a totally story. From the end to the beginning, it has all the elements. That's what I wanted you to watch. It's kind of the end. We're almost ending the webinar. So what's the cast of characters? Who's the protagonist? The grandfather, the old man, okay, the neighbors are part of the cast, yes. The kids are, yes, are part of the cast. The protagonist is the old man. He's the one that sees all the story. Remember, he's the one that comes in the elevator, that goes and helps the lady to pick up the things and gives the kid the tomato cap and all. He's all in the story. That's how the protagonist should be in all of the story. So great. And the kids and all the neighbors and everything are part of the cast. Yes, they are. The protagonist is. What's the journey? The journey there, it is. The journey it is from the moment that he, a very long one to build a community. Great. Well, we said in 3 minutes, but you know how much time tomatoes takes to grow and everything. So it could take a month, but you would see that in some minutes. So that's great. The entire story. Yes. From loneliness to community, yes. Or from not being connected to be connected as a community, great. So emotions and senses. I know that this brings a lot of emotions and senses. So that's good. Emotions first. What emotions did you have? Empathy with the old man, yeah. The loneliness, uselessness, perfect. To joy, activity, sharing, great. Yeah, sadness of the beginning and then happiness, great. It from one side of the wheel of feelings. Remember the wheel of feelings of last session? So the happiness or sadness to happiness. Solidarity, then about senses, great look there. The tomatoes look very tasty. Of course, we could feel the tomatoes. They were real great. Then the ketchup, then yes, that's good. So that's true. And the magic moment, if there was one magic moment or was several magic moments? What do you think? Several, perfect, several. Name a couple of them. Mom comes through the seats, yes. I think since they start, since the elevator, since the crash of the car, then the woman giving the seats to the old man, of course, covering the tomatoes from all of them, the rain coming, then the hose, when they were putting the hose into theirs. It's like every scene had a magic moment. So that's good. That's great on this story, that it's having a lot of peaks, that you say, oh, the plants, the tomatoes are gonna die, then again, then the seeds, that again. So that's great. The parents having the tomatoes, and of course at the end, people are sharing there. And what's, well, that's the resolution. What's the resolution? It says little roller coaster, 3 minutes. Yes, of course it was. And the resolution is building a community, right? The community, totally, that's great. And the desire to act. This has really call to actions items at the end by the ketchup. That is something to the desire to act. And of course, you be left with this sense of community. So you say, well, I'm gonna help my community and everything, but at the end, it's a tomato, a ketchup commercial. By the seeds, of course, and by the tomato. So there is that specific desire to act. We are running out of time, so we're almost getting to the hour of the webinar. Anna is gonna send you this presentation. It has 3 more examples, so you can see it. We have more by UNICEF specifically. We have another one from the Impact Hub specifically there, so you can watch it. And we have a letter. So you can have all these kind of examples of a good storytelling, or then you can get better. So this is really important. So you go and have this review and make your own story. So if you do this, so please, I think we would be great, we would be pleased with Anna, if you can send it back to us and say, look, this is how I created this story using the steps. That would be great, that you can use these 6 steps to build the story, like Rahima was telling us that she will do in the impact over there. So that's really important. So I recap, this is a really great space to share with you some experience. And here says Impact Hub Berlin has an event. Okay, great. Great, great, great. In 1 hour from now, I think we can join Luke. Luke is there and he's gonna practice specifically. So the key takeaways of this practice, just to end, again, practical, put it in the chat. Give me 5 takeaways of this. A specific hour seminar, the practical one, hearing stories, listening stories. The power of emotion, again, that's great. The emotion, and it is. Many different ways of telling this good story, great. And I don't know if you mentioned that on the last 2 stories, there was somebody talking, they were talking, no, nor the Coca-Cola commercial or the ketchup commercial. It was only actions and music. That's really important. You don't have to talk to tell a story. You can tell it on a video. So that's really important as well. So, well, we do have these 2 great takeaways. Like I told you, I know we're on time, so it's great. Creative way of making a call of action, great. That's good. That's good too. Implement story in more of our marketing. That's great. That's some takeaway that it is important to make, because it is important. No worry, Constantine, we're finishing, and thank you very much. So again, I want to thank you very much for assisting to the first and the second webinar. I hope this is the first of many that we can share. Here are my contact details, my LinkedIn. I already have a couple of contacts from last webinar. So I'm free and I'm open to get all your contacts and questions if you have. If you think something that I can help, please feel free. Please contact me and we'll work together to help you to create stories, communications, and all this kind of things. So thank you very much to Anna from Vienna and to Anna from here in El Salvador, and for all of you for assisting. I don't know if there's something else we can get, Anna.
No, I just wanted to stop sharing the screen so I can see all of you. Would you mind? Yeah, perfect. Great. So hi everyone, welcome back again. Thanks so much for being with us, and thank you, Leonardo, for dedicating your time to us. I know it's a very early hour for you, so thank you, and extra thank you for joining us at 8 a.m. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can direct them to me and I can reach out to Leonardo, or you have the presentation by the end of today in your inbox as well, so you can reach out to him directly. And if you can, join the event in an hour for other stories to hear from Impact Hub Berlin. Thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, see you in the next available opportunity. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye. You can stay.
I can stay.
I'm trying.
Anna?
Yes, dear.
Sorry, I couldn't join until not so long ago. Will you be sending the recording as well as the presentation this afternoon?
Yes, yes, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, because I would love to have it, and maybe I can share it with the community.